Chosen one, anchor your spirit to every single word I am about to say. That restless feeling you have been carrying around, the one that makes it impossible to sit still, impossible to feel settled, impossible to feel at home in a space you have lived in for years. That is not anxiety. That is not a problem. That is a signal. God is moving you. And He just revealed the number one sign that the move is imminent, not eventual, not someday. The enemy has been working overtime this week for one reason, and one reason only. He sees the address on the package heaven is about to deliver to your life. And it is not the address you are currently at. It all shifts very soon. The stagnation, the suffocation, the feeling of being a guest in your own life. But here is what you need to understand right now. This shift is not happening despite the discomfort you have been feeling. It is happening because of it. The restlessness was never a malfunction. It was preparation. Think back to that moment this week when you looked around at your surroundings, your home, your city, your relationships, your routine, and felt nothing. Not sadness, not joy, just nothing. Like you were standing in a room that used to fit you perfectly. And suddenly the walls were too close, and the air was too thin. You thought something was wrong with you. You wondered if you were ungrateful. You tried to talk yourself out of the feeling, but you could not shake it, and you were not supposed to. You did not find this message by accident. The algorithm did not bring you here. God did. This is a divine appointment scheduled before the foundations of the earth for a person standing exactly where you are standing right now. So significant that if this message found you at the moment, it was meant to. If something in your spirit just confirmed that you are standing exactly at this threshold, press like. Let that simple act be your acknowledgement that this appointment was not random. Heaven arranged it. Honor it. Stay until the very last second of this message. In the next few minutes, I am going to walk you through the number one sign God gives His chosen ones right before He moves them. I am going to expose the specific lie the enemy plants in your mind during transition seasons to make you abort the move before it happens. And at the end, I am going to give you a declaration that you can speak over your life today that seals this new chapter open and the old one shut permanently. Do not click away. Your future self, the one already living in the new location, the new season, the new assignment, is on the other side of what I am about to show you. If you leave now, you leave before you receive the confirmation you have been desperately searching for. I know what the last 72 hours have felt like. The atmosphere around your life has not just been quiet, it has been thick, like something enormous is pressing in from every direction, and you cannot tell if it is closing in to crush you or closing in to launch you. Maybe you had a conversation this week that felt strangely final, not painful, not dramatic, just final, like a door closing softly behind you. Or maybe you found yourself driving through your neighborhood, and something inside of you whispered that this is not where the story ends. Or maybe you woke up at 3 a.m. with your heart wide open, not racing from fear, but burning, with a knowing you could not explain to anyone around you. You feel it. Something is ending, and something far greater is beginning. But in the space between the ending and the beginning, the enemy has been whispering a very specific lie. He has been telling you that the reason you feel so displaced, so out of place, so unable to settle, is because you made a wrong turn somewhere. He is replaying decisions you made last year, that relationship you walked away from, that opportunity you did not pursue, that prayer you stopped praying. He is telling you that if you had done it differently, you would not feel this loss. He is telling you that the restlessness is the consequence of your failure, not the signal of your promotion. But I need you to hear what the Word of God actually says about this moment. Isaiah 43 verse 19 says, "See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? I am making a way in the wilderness and streams in the wasteland." Listen to what God is saying to you right now through that verse. He is not saying he will do a new thing when you fix what you broke. He is not saying he will make a way once you earn your way back. He is saying it is already springing up, right now, in the middle of what feels like wilderness, in the middle of what feels like wasteland. The very terrain that the enemy has been using as evidence of your failure is the exact terrain where God just confirmed the move is already in motion. You are not lost. You are being led. If those words just landed somewhere deep, if your spirit recognized itself in that truth, write this in the comments. I am being repositioned, not as a hope, as a declaration. Let it be the first thing your voice speaks into this new season. The feeling of displacement you have been carrying is not the weight of someone who missed their moment. It is the weight of someone who is too big for the space they are currently in. The restlessness is not punishment. It is preparation. It is God stretching your capacity to hold what He is about to place in your hands. That moment when you looked around and felt nothing, when the life that used to fit you suddenly felt foreign, that was not emptiness. That was a divine eviction. Notice served on every small thing that was holding you in a season you have already completed. Some messages do not just inform, they activate. And when a revelation repositions you, the natural response is to let it move outward, not to hold it contained. What you just received was not information. It was confirmation of something your spirit has been carrying for months. This mission exists to carry that same confirmation to people sitting in the exact darkness you were in before this moment. People who are still interpreting their restlessness as failure. People who do not yet know that the displacement they feel is divine construction, not divine abandonment. Through the link in the description or the pinned comment, sow into this work today. Whatever your spirit directs. When you do, you are not giving to a channel. You are seeding the revelation forward. You are ensuring that the word that just reoriented your understanding continues moving until it finds the next person standing at their own threshold, searching for exactly what you just found. That is not charity, that is alignment. Now let us go deeper. Because what the sign is pointing to is not just a change of location. It is a change of dimension. There is a difference between moving from one place to another and being repositioned by the hand of God. Most people spend their entire lives relocating, changing cities, changing relationships, changing jobs. And they arrive at the new place, carrying the exact weight they were trying to leave behind. They are like migratory birds caught in a storm, desperately flapping their wings to escape the tempest, only to find themselves disoriented and weary, still burdened by the very winds they sought to outrun, because they moved, but they were never repositioned. They were merely tossed about. Their trajectory dictated by external forces, rather than divine intent. And God is not calling you to move. He is calling you to be repositioned. This is not about a new address or a different title. It is about a divine recalibration, a sacred orchestration of your very being. That distinction will change everything about how you receive what is coming. Its branches reaching purposefully towards the heavens, guided by an unseen internal compass. Think about what happened to Ruth. She made a choice that looked like grief and sacrifice from the outside, leaving her homeland, her people, her familiar ground, her entire world as she knew it. It was an act akin to stepping off a precipice, blindfolded into the unknown. Everyone around her would have called that loss, a foolish abandonment of all that was known and secure. They would have seen the tears, the sorrow, the stark emptiness of her departure. But heaven called it alignment. It was not an act of desperation, but a divine maneuver, a cosmic chess move, where her apparent sacrifice was the key to unlocking her destiny. She did not know that the field she was about to walk into, the field of bows, had already been consecrated and prepared for her embrace. She did not know that her unwavering loyalty in the season of devastating loss, her commitment to Naomi even when all hope seemed extinguished, was the very crucible that refined her and qualified her for an unprecedented season of abundance. a harvest beyond her wildest dreams. She just kept walking, each step a testament to an obedience that transcended sight. And that walk, that singular, courageous decision to step forward into the unfamiliar, when every fiber of her past screamed to stay put, to cling to the remnants of what was the pivotal hinge point, the fulcrum upon which the axis of her entire destiny swung, pivoting from despair to a legacy of faith and fruitfulness. You are standing at that hinge point right now in this moment. There are angels stationed at your hinge point, not watching from a distance, present, attentive, assigned specifically to this threshold you are crossing. If your spirit recognizes that you are standing at the hinge point Ruth stood at, that you are at the exact place where the axis of your story shifts, type 444 in the comments. Let it be your acknowledgement that the angels are not absent. They have been here the entire time. Feel the seismic tremor beneath your feet, the powerful pull of the next season beckoning you forward. But here is what most people miss about that pivotal moment, that sacred space between the what was and the what will be, the discomfort you have been feeling, that persistent restlessness, the gnawing sense that the old garments no longer fit, that the familiar landscape feels alien, the inexplicable longing for something you cannot even fully name, like a melody half remembered from a dream. That is not anxiety. That is not a sign of spiritual instability or some inner turmoil to be medicated away. That is the potent, palpable pressure of the new pressing against the brittle, confining container of the old. It is the expanding spirit wrestling with the limitations of a former self. You cannot carry a grand new assignment, a purpose meant to shake nations, within the fragile vessel of an old, worn-out identity, and your spirit, that deep, knowing part of you, has recognized this truth, has felt its imperative for far longer than your analytical mind has been willing to acknowledge or accept. This brings us to something that has to deeply land in your soul before anything else can truly move forward. The reason your movement has been delayed, the reason the doors have remained shut and the path obscured, is not because God has forgotten you. It is not because you are somehow disqualified, imperfect, or less than. The delay has been a meticulously orchestrated construction project. Every solitary season of waiting, every promising door that slammed shut with deafening finality, every significant relationship that dissolved like mist in the morning sun, every cherished version of yourself that had to be surrendered, to be allowed to die. Those were not mere interruptions to your divine purpose. They were, in fact, the very architecture of it, the essential blueprints being laid. God does not build destiny on shaky, unseasoned foundations. He meticulously constructs his grand designs upon what has been tested in the fires of adversity, broken open to reveal its core, and found to be profoundly, unequivocally faithful. Everything that felt like setback, every door that closed with finality, every relationship that dissolved, every season that seemed to produce nothing visible, was architecture. The mission you are witnessing right now is built on the same principle. Every word released here reaches people who are in the middle of their construction season. People who see nothing but rubble around them and do not yet know that the rubble is the foundation being laid. Through the link in the description or the pinned comment, invest in this construction today. So whatever God directs your spirit to place here. When you give in the middle of your own construction season, you are not giving from lack. You are giving from the revelation that construction seasons are not delays, they are the work. And the work always produces something that outlasts the building of it. And what is coming next in this message will likely challenge you, perhaps even shake you to your core. Because we are about to confront something that most chosen ones carry, unknowingly, a silent burden that is weighing them down, hindering their ascent. Because here is where the most profound tension resides, the paradox that ensnares so many people who have been undeniably called, who have been distinctly separated for a purpose, who carry within them a genuine, vibrant spark of divine purpose. They have, in a subtle, insidious way, made peace with their prison. Not consciously, not with a willful act of rebellion, but quietly, incrementally, over the slow march of time. They have learned to meticulously decorate the waiting room of their lives, to arrange the furniture of their circumstances, to be as comfortable as possible, rather than resolutely walking through the very door that God is now swinging wide open for them. They have grown accustomed, even comfortable, in a season that was only ever intended to be a temporary vestibule, a brief holding space. Comfort in the wrong season, it is spiritual stagnation wearing the deceptive mask of contentment. It is the soul settling for a cage it has learned to adorn. And God is actively, powerfully dismantling that comfort right now. But to provoke you, to awaken you, because you were not chosen to reside in comfortable complacency. You were chosen, equipped, and empowered to be sent. Consider the prophet Elijah, a man who stood as a solitary pillar against a tide of idolatry after one of the most stupendous and dramatic demonstrations of divine power recorded in all of Scripture. After calling down fire from heaven itself, after decisively breaking a national curse and confronting an entire nation with the undeniable truth of God, he found himself collapsed beneath a broom tree, utterly despairing, asking God to simply take his life. He had just witnessed a miraculous vindication, and in the very next breath, he was fleeing for his life in terror, his spirit broken, begging for death. Why? Because the anointing that empowers you for outward ministry and the deep, profound healing of your inner life are not the same thing. You can carry immense power, a supernatural gifting that moves mountains, and simultaneously harbor immense unaddressed pain, deep inner wounds that cripple your spirit. And until God touches both the divine gifting and the hidden festering wound, you will continue to run in circles, trapped in a cyclical exhaustion, perpetually wondering why you keep arriving at the same desolate place of depletion. Even when the scenery and the seasons appear to have changed, and in that moment of profound vulnerability, God sent an angel to Elijah, not with a complex theological treatise, not with a harsh rebuke for his despair, but with simple, sustaining nourishment, bread and water. The angel touched him and said, "Arise and eat, for the journey is too great for you." That divine provision, that moment of angelic sustenance, is precisely what this moment is for you. Before you can be powerfully repositioned, before you can be sent forth into the fullness of your assignment, you must first be deeply restored. Restoration is not a sign of weakness. It is the essential preparation for the immense weight and profound responsibilities of the new assignments you have not yet been asked to carry, but for which you are now being made ready. What is coming next in this sequence of revelation requires you to stay in it. Subscribe to this channel now, not for content, for continuity. The restoration journey you are being walked through does not end here. Each word released in this space is a further dismantling of the old and a further construction of the new. Stay in it. Stay with me, because in just a moment, we are going to uncover the insidious, hidden thing that has been masquerading as faith, subtly, silently, and consistently sabotaging your forward motion, without you even realizing its destructive presence. Because there is something far deeper beneath the surface of this delay, a quiet internal dynamic that almost no one dares to speak about. It is the unspoken agreement you have made with your own perceived smallness. Somewhere along your journey, after the sting of rejection, after the deep betrayal that left you questioning everything, after the prayers that seemed to echo unanswered in the vast expanse of heaven, you made a quiet, almost imperceptible internal pact. You told yourself, perhaps unconsciously, that maybe you misheard the call. Maybe you were mistaken about the magnitude of what you were truly called to. Maybe the vision God planted was simply too vast, too audacious, and you were far too flawed, far too broken. And perhaps, just perhaps, it was even arrogant, presumptuous, to think that God had something so extraordinary, so significant, set aside specifically for you. And that agreement, that subtle, almost humble surrender of the grand vision, felt rational. It felt mature. It even felt like genuine wisdom. But it was not wisdom. It was a profound wound, an open sore, masquerading in the guise of wisdom and maturity. And God is sovereignly exposing this wound right now, precisely because you cannot possibly step into the fullness of your divine repositioning while still bound, still bowing, at the altar of your own self-imposed diminishment. Consider Moses. He spent 40 long, arduous years wandering in the desolate wilderness of Midian after fleeing Egypt in fear, not because he was disqualified, not because he had failed God, but because, in that extended period of exile, he had unknowingly, yet profoundly, agreed with the wrong identity. He transitioned from Prince of Egypt, accustomed to authority and privilege, to a humble shepherd, tending sheep in quiet obscurity. And somewhere in that transformation, a part of him settled, decided, and perhaps even resigned himself to the belief that shepherd was all he would ever be, all he was capable of being. Then came the burning bush, the undeniable, awe-inspiring encounter with the divine. And when God spoke, Moses' response was not one of immediate recognition or eager acceptance. It was an utterance of doubt and self-questioning. Who am I? Who am I to go to Pharaoh? Who am I to lead these thousands of people? The divine call was clear. The manifestation of God's power was undeniable. The fire of his presence was real and palpable. But the deeply ingrained agreement with smallness, with his perceived limitations, was still powerfully active, a silent saboteur. And God, in his persistent love and unwavering purpose, had to patiently dismantle every single excuse, every layer of doubt, before Moses could finally move. Some of you have been standing in front of your own burning bush for months, perhaps even years, experiencing the undeniable call, the radiant presence of God, and you continue to ask, who am I? When heaven has already declared your identity, revealed your capabilities, and confirmed your calling in countless ways that you, in your agreement with smallness, stubbornly refuse to fully receive and embrace. And here is the part that confronts everything, the unavoidable truth that challenges our deepest assumptions. The primary thing that has been blocking your divine repositioning is not some external enemy lurking in the shadows. The spiritual warfare is undeniably real, but the adversary is not your principal obstacle at this critical juncture. It is not your past, though your past has undeniably shaped and molded you. It is not the people who inflicted wounds upon you, though their scars may run deep and their impact profound. The single most significant thing that has been holding you firmly in place, like an anchor in the seabed, is your stubborn loyalty to a version of yourself that God has already lovingly, intentionally, and irrevocably buried. 7 means completion in the language of heaven, and what God completes, he does not revisit with regret. If you just felt something release reading that, if the grip of an old identity loosened in your chest, if somewhere in your spirit a cycle that has been running for years just quietly stopped, type 777 in the comments. Let it be your witness that the old construction has ended and the new one has begun. You have been mourning an identity, a past self that heaven released and moved beyond seasons ago. You have been passionately fighting to resurrect something that God, in his infinite wisdom, intentionally allowed to die, because what he is now raising in its place, the new creation he is birthing through you, requires a you that has never existed before, a you radically transformed, and that glorious new version of yourself cannot possibly emerge, cannot fully manifest while you are still diligently performing the solemn funeral rites of who you used to be, clinging to the ghosts of yesterday. This is the unexpected paradoxical truth that shifts everything. The most profound sign that God is actively moving you, that your repositioning is imminent and real, is not merely found in the external shifts of circumstance or environment. It is most powerfully evident in the internal disintegration, the beautiful necessary breakdown of who you thought you had to be. The confusion you have been experiencing, the disorientation, is not a sign of spiritual weakness or failure. It is the unmistakable evidence of a divine decomposition, the old self, the former identity, breaking down, dissolving, so that the chosen, perfected self can emerge, fully formed, not incrementally improved, not merely spiritually upgraded, but utterly and completely new, unrecognizable perhaps, even to your own previous understanding of yourself, because that is the true, breathtaking essence of what repositioning by the sovereign hand of God actually looks like. There is a shift that happens at this exact point in the repositioning process. You arrive as a recipient, you leave as a carrier. The word that has been working in you throughout this message, the dismantling of agreement with smallness, the recognition of divine construction in what looked like ruin, these do not terminate with you. They were always meant to move through you. Through the link in the description or the pinned comment, sow into this mission today. Right now, in this moment of transformation, while the new is still forming and the old is still dissolving. Because when you give at the moment of your own repositioning, you are not giving from the new place yet. You are giving from the threshold, and threshold giving carries a specific weight in the spirit. It says, I do not need to see where I am going before I invest in the journey. That is not faith hoping to become action. That is action, which is what faith always was. And then one glorious morning, you wake up, and in the quiet dawning of a new day, you realize with breathtaking clarity that you did not lose yourself at all. You have finally, truly, and for the very first time, found yourself. Place your hand on your heart. Feel the divine pulse of life within you and declare this truth with unwavering conviction. I release every agreement I have ever made with my own smallness. I release every limiting label that was unjustly given to me in a season of pain or misunderstanding. I release the version of myself that I have been clinging to, protecting, and trying to preserve, because I declare that God has already made me new. I wholeheartedly receive my divine repositioning, not merely in geography, not just in external circumstances, but fundamentally and transformatively in identity, in spiritual authority, and in the unique assignment heaven has ordained for me. I declare with bold faith that the delay is irrevocably over. I declare with absolute certainty that the construction project is gloriously complete. I declare that I am ready, fully prepared, to be sent, to be seen, and to carry with grace and power all that heaven has been meticulously preparing me for. I am not who I was. I am not where I was. I am moving forward, propelled by the divine command, because God has said, and everything that is essential for this next chapter will follow me, and everything that was meant to fall away has already done so. I step forward now with courage, with unwavering faith, in complete wholeness, and in the radiant fullness of the magnificent destiny I was always meant to embody. Take those 2 lines from the declaration and write them in the comments right now. Not as reflection, as a boundary marker. I am not who I was. I am not where I was. Let it stand as the first declaration of a person who has crossed the threshold, not who is about to cross it. You have already moved. If this message resonated deep within your spirit, confirming what your soul already knew to be true, share it with someone else who you know is standing at their own critical hinge point right now. Leave a comment below. Speak your declaration out loud to God and to this community, affirming that you receive your repositioning. Your words carry immense weight and creative power. Speak them out loud. And if you have not already, subscribe to this channel because what is coming next in this series is going to take everything you have received today and propel you even deeper into the heart of God's unfolding plan for your life. You did not stumble upon this message by accident. You were divinely sent here, and believe this with all your heart. Where you are going next is infinitely greater than where you have ever been.